It was the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life. Honestly, it really was. It was. It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast in the biggest way possible, hanging out the bad, see the bad, apple with a bad attitude. We are live in New York City, the Big Apple. Ooh, people dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fucking shake it up, shadoobie, along with the pumpkin himself, Mr. Ferralloween, the Tater and Tutty King. The master of ceremonies, Carver High this afternoon, ladies, as you're trick-or-treating, wishing that he was there with you. Mafia running it with Luke, I am your father. The rundown real quick. We got Morency from Vancouver, and that's this hour. Second hour, it's me, Gino B. Gino Bacola from Daily Racing Form, getting ready for the Breeders' Cup. And then in the final hour, a double shot with Adam Kaplan, our NFL insider, and Bust a Cap in yo ass. Carver High, last night, the worst thing that's ever happened to me, I think, in my life, was watching that meltdown. Not just the fifth inning, the eighth inning, too. It was like a double dip. A double dip will do you. Like, the fifth inning was bad enough. Watching that disastrous game for the Yankees. Like, I have never in my life seen anything worse than that line drive right to Judge, and he dropped it. Like, I have never. And then you got the Volpe disastrous throw to third. That was another error. And then, obviously, the ground ball to Rizzo. Cole didn't cover. They scored 5 runs tied. Then they take the lead, and they still lose because Tommy Canely couldn't throw a strike. And then Wells with the catcher mitt interference error, load him up, 2 sack flies, Dodgers are world champs. That was the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was awful. If you're a Yankee fan, that was torture. I mean, watching it was literally torture.
Yes, it was torture. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I guess happy Thursday, happy Halloween, happy for Halloween to everybody out there. It's not a great day if you're a Yankee fan because that was as painful a game to watch. Look, I was trying to think back of like the worst losses that I've seen in my lifetime, playoff-wise, right? Like I've been trying to think of some bad ones. Now, I still didn't think they were going to win that series. I know we had some fun yesterday. If they just get it back to L.A., let's see. But when you're up 5-0 and you get homers from Judge finally homers, you know, Jazz Chisholm homers, you got all these homers, you start piling on, and they probably should have even had more, to be honest, because they left a couple small villages on the base paths in those first 5 innings as well. But Cole cruising. He had 50 pitches going into the 5th inning. Like, he was dominating the game, and to be fair, he was dominating even in that inning. The Judge ball is so embarrassing and so unforgivable that is now what he's going to be remembered for a while, okay? We said legacy-type stuff. We don't. Nobody's going to care if you're hitting 60, 61, 62 homers in the regular season until he gets back to that point and is able to wash away an embarrassing performance in the World Series, which he tops off by the night he finally homers to miss that ball in center field. Gutless. And then Volpe throw, and the Cole one, I don't know who to blame there. I guess it's Cole. Cole should be running to first the whole time. I thought Rizzo was a little slow with it as well. But Cole's got to be running at full speed.
It's Cole's playing.
That inning was a complete and utter disgrace. They should have been out of there 5-0 in that inning, and they would have cruised along.
That's Cole's play.
It's Cole's play. All I heard was the excuses afterwards. It was a tricky spin off the bat, blah, blah, blah. Run to first base and catch the ball.
No, it wasn't.
Run to first
Every
base.
Every pitcher covers first base on a grounder to the first baseman behind the bag. It's as simple as that. He butchered it. He cost them. Judge cost them. Volpe cost them. Wells cost them. And their season ends with a thud. You're up 5-0 at home with your ace dealing, and you blow it. You blow it. I don't know. So was the 13 seconds worse than this?
You're talking about me personally. Yes, the 13 seconds is worse because I've never seen the Bills win, and they would have won. I think they would have won that year. So I think the 13 seconds is worse just because I've seen the Yankees win. In fact, I think the Yankees have had worse losses in the World Series. They should have never lost to the Marlins in 2003. I mean, that still boggles my mind how much better they were than the Marlins that they lost that World Series. The Arizona one stings because of the way they lost. I didn't think they were the better team in that series. They almost stole it in that 7th game after the Soriano homer, and then you had all the cheap hits off of Mariano in the 9th. And we obviously know the worst ever is 2004. That's the worst. Nothing will ever top.
Nothing will ever top that
4-day car crash that they had, losing the 3-0 lead to the Red Sox. But I don't think it's as bad as those because they probably would have lost the series anyway, even if they win that game last night. But the way they lost it put such a bad stain on this season and how it ended. It really does. If they would have won last night and got it back to LA and lost on Friday or Saturday, you could have said at least they showed a little bit of heart, from being down 3-0. At least they gave you a little bit of a ride. That was pathetic, what they did last night. Completely gutless in that 5th inning and on.
It was unbelievable. It was truly unbelievable. I'm sitting there watching it going, this isn't happening. Is this a dream? Am I in a nightmare? Am I dreaming? I have never seen a meltdown like that in my life. Now, I've seen all kinds of losses. I told you that you always remember the losses. You don't remember the wins. I've won all kinds of championships. I don't remember any of them. I really don't. But I remember all of the losses like it was yesterday. And it's the weirdest thing. I remember losing to the Packers, the Steelers. I remember losing to the Cowboys. But you know what? Those teams were good. They were good teams. Right. So I can live with that. But this one, I got a real bad taste in my mouth, obviously. It was awful. They melted down like an ice cream cone. What a choke job. It was embarrassing. I don't even care if he hit a home run. He was awful in the postseason. And to see him drop a line drive right to his belly in a big game, in a World Series game, a line drive right to you, he takes his eyes off of it and drops it. That was embarrassing. I thought Aaron Judge was pathetic in the postseason for the Yankees. Utterly pathetic.
And that's why this is obviously different for him because, we talked about all those other bad World Series losses, whether it's the Marlins. Those guys that lost those World Series, they've won a bunch of other World Series. Yeah. The Jeters. Those guys had wins when they lost. You could stomach it. This crew, this guy, this manager, they haven't won. So now this is the Black Cloud Diner that carries with them until they if they do, actually win. This is their remembrance, is what they did in this World Series against the Dodgers until they could somehow. And now let me tell you one other thing, and we'll get into this later too. Here's your next bit of bad news that you're going to have to wash down in the next 6 weeks. This guy, Soto, he's gone. I watched that whole thing last night. I'm going to play you a clip of it later. He's already everyone's on the table. There's no, I'm open to anywhere. That guy is a mercenary, and he's going to whoever gives him $1 more than anyone else. He ain't going to be Yankee next year. He's not.
Right. He already said that his teammates all wished him the best and do what's best for your family. And he's like, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the most money. I'm out.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
has fixed that hitch. He now shoots it at the top of his jump, his release is really pure. And right now he's shooting it at 49% from three. Now, I'm not saying he's going to shoot a 49% from three for the season. But if he's at 42, 43%, Lord have mercy, look out below. Jason Tatum, right now, my number 6 player in the NBA.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I tend to do this a lot, by the way. I do it more in baseball, but the anytime home run, where I may play 4 players hit home run. I call it covering the board. You know, if I take 4 players, bet the same amount on each, I only need to hit 2 of them and I win money.
He's already got, 438 rushing yards on the season. He's looking like the old LT days where the Chargers were able to have that strong, dominant running back.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
So you can catch Sports Rage at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, right here on SportsGrid on all of our outlets, and you can see him on Coast to Coast every day. Oh, my God, I'm scared to death. Look at this guy. He wins the World Series, and then he's coming out as a killer here on Ferrall. Look at him. He's like Michael Myers. I'm scared to death.
And I'll tell you what, Jason Voorhees and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman have just destroyed and killed the New York Yankees. Happy Halloween, everybody. Let's rock.
They sure did.
You know what I like about this one too, Scott? It's actually signed by the actor that played Jason Voorhees. I Never Die.
I like that. That's impressive. I see that. That's impressive.
Yeah, I Never Die.
Where did you get that? Like at a Comic-Con? I mean, how did you get your hands on that?
Yeah, you know what? I got this actually at the collectible and memorabilia shop in Las Vegas. I think it's at the Caesars Forums. Sort of bounced around. It used to be at Planet Hollywood, whatever. It's like this guy had been in Vegas forever, Scott. He's got signed jerseys and actor type stuff. And I went in there once after a couple of drinks and I saw this. And I was like, oh, dude, like, I got to get this signed by Jason Voorhees. I love it. I Never Die. Los Angeles Dodgers never die, baby.
Yeah, that was it wasn't a good night for us on our end watching the Yankees. I have never, look, we've already said it. I don't know if you heard us, I've never seen anything so effed up in my life. Like, I have never seen a championship level performance so pathetic in my entire life in sports. Like, I've never seen that many errors. I've never seen that many butchered plays in 2 innings of baseball in my life, ever. Like, I've never seen it. It was utterly the worst thing I've ever seen from any team ever. I don't care if I'm a Yankee fan or not. I've never even seen the Pirates do that.
I got to be honest with you. I haven't seen Carrasco do that in a Little League World Series. That was Little League meltdown type stuff. Just point blank, Little League baseball meltdown. Baseball 101. Listen, everybody knew coming into this that the Yankees can't run the bases, that the Yankees can't play defense. And you know what? I sort of feel validated in a way, Scott, because I've been saying for years, and I don't like the modern baseball rule changes, right? Because they've with the DH and the National League and all this type of stuff. But the American League has always just sort of been softball, Scott. Right? Nobody ever really flashes the leather and great defense and small ball and stealing, you know what I mean? And making plays. The Yankees can't make plays, but that was ridiculous. Like one after another. Like the not covering the bag is unacceptable. Like both of them, Rizzo and Cole, they're both. And then Rizzo threw Cole under the bus after. He goes, well, it was both of us. Then he dropped a little Well, everyone's taught in Little League if you're the pitcher to go to he threw this
honestly, that's Cole's fault. Yeah. It's not Rizzo's fault. We already know Rizzo's a fat ass old man. He can't run.
Cole stopped. He's going. He goes, "Oh, I had a bad angle. You had a bad angle. Okay, bro. It's the World Series. You dive. You do whatever. You run. You Freddie Freeman did, Scott, on one leg, man, on one ankle. You see Freddie? He's taking off, man. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there every play. And then the Judge, listen, I like Aaron Judge. That play is going to haunt him for the rest of his life. I think, the Volpe play was tough. Listen, he screwed up. He was forced to make a play. He couldn't. But that was a bang, bang. Oh, my God. What do I do? Tough play.
Terrible. It was terrible. Yeah, it was a terrible throw. I'm sick of hearing about how there was so much going on. It really wasn't his fault.
The Judge.
It was a crappy throw.
The Judge drop, though, that's the one. That's the symbolic one.
You'll never live it down.
When that happened, I even tweeted out, because I tweeted out before when they got the runner on. When it started, I said, all right, there's a small window here. So small window. Then after the Judge, I said, the window just got bigger. When Judge, you sort of had the feeling after Judge dropped the ball, it was like, oh, boy, this really is for real. They're going to screw this up. You almost got the feeling you just knew the Dodgers going to get the hit after. Dude, 5-0, the biggest comeback in an elimination game in baseball history.
We all saw it, dude. So let me ask you a real question here. So this guy puts up 144, 58, 62 the year that he broke Maris and everything. And then the postseason that he just had, which was utterly laughable. It was so anemic. And then to drop that line drive right in his belly, literally at his chin, going right at him. My daughter would have caught that ball. So my question is to you, because I don't think I could ever look at him the same way again. I don't care what numbers he puts up ever again. I don't care how many runs, home runs. I don't care if he hits 340. I will never forget how terrible he was in the postseason, every postseason, not just this one. He has sucked in the postseason since he's been a Yankee, and he will never be remembered as a great, with all those big stats in the regular season. He's going to be remembered as a colossal failure in the postseason. If he ever wins one, I'll keel over because he's bad luck. I'll never look at him the same way again. I mean it. I'm done with it.
He still has a long career ahead of him, but it should be noted, Scott.
He's got 8 years left at best.
I don't know if you saw this the other day, but, so Aaron Judge hit 143. Listen, Shohei Ohtani didn't do anything either. I know he had the shoulder injury as it went on. It's going to happen. He tightens up. It is what it is. But when you're a home run hitter, it's not surprising, right? I mean, if the Yankees live by the home run and you get to the postseason, you're not going to hit 58 home runs, right? It doesn't work that way, right? You know what I mean? It's just different. You don't see the same pitches, but to put in context, and I get the frustration of Yankee fans about Aaron Judge. I get it, but Lou Gehrig in 1939, he hit 143, right, in the playoffs. So I guess if Twitter was alive, people would have said, Lou Gehrig sucks.
How many rings does he have? Who cares if you win a bunch of championships?
Well, he was also playing.
He's never won anything. He's never won anything.
Lou Gehrig kind of had better teammates than, Look at the Yankees team, Scott.
That's not Lou Gehrig's fault.
Dude, but no one thought the Yankees were not good, bro. They beat Kansas City and Cleveland to get here, right? The Yankees weren't oh, my God, people fear the Yankees. They were lucky they had a soft-ass path to get to the World Series in the first place.
They were favored to get there. So were the Dodgers. They were favored to get there. Are you okay with him moving to the head of the class of the Heisman with those 2 games? Because he wasn't even in the discussion before those 2 games.
This is a big opportunity for Dylan if he wants to continue to make his case for the Heisman Trophy, and I think he's shown that. What is he, a 6th-tier player who's going to probably end up setting most of the passing marks because he's been around for so long? So why not also throw a Heisman Trophy in the mix?
Ferrall, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We're talking to Morency. You can catch his show at 10 Eastern every night. You can see him here on C2C every day from Vancouver. So, yeah, sorry. I'm not nice. I'm done with this guy in the postseason. I already know what's coming. And you know what? Like I said, this is not now. This has been from the jump. He's played in all kinds of fucking playoff games. Guy's played in 50, 60 games in the postseason, and his numbers are disastrous. And to see him drop that line drive, that's it. I'm done. I don't care what he does with his big regular season numbers. He doesn't perform. He's no Reggie Jackson, baby. Now, let me tell you something else. Soto, Carver High and I both said he's out of there, gone. He's already like out. Like he literally was doing interviews last night saying his teammates were wishing him the best and his family. Do the right thing for your family. Have at it.
He could.
He said he's going to see all 30 teams, whatever. He's gone.
He could end up on the Los Angeles Dodgers, too. I'll put it this way. If the Dodgers want to sign him, they can sign him. And we saw this last year at the All-Star game when Shohei Ohtani was asked, who's one player in the league that you would love to be a teammate with? And without missing a beat, he said Mookie Betts. He said, I've always wanted to play with Mookie Betts. Well, he plays with Mookie Betts. He just won a title. Juan Soto was asked this year at the All-Star game. Yeah, we know about the free agency, but just if you know, who's a player, who's like your dream teammate? Who did he say? Shohei Ohtani. Said, oh, man, to be a teammate with Shohei Ohtani, that would be something. Now, Soto seems to like the East Coast, right? So he's not one of these. Look, the guy didn't stay in San Diego. He's a different dude, right? Washington offered him $440 million years ago, Scott. Like, it was like the biggest contract ever, pretty much. No, and he's not happy. How can you not be happy in San Diego, Scott? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a good team.
It's impossible.
Yeah, imagine, Scott, someone said to you, all right, we're going to give you $350 million, $400 million, and you're going to live in San Diego for the next 7 years.
Like, okay,
I said, where's the pen? I'd be like, hey, give me the pen so I can sign this.
I'd be on the next flight.
Right, so, and you see him, he goes to New York, and Yankee fans rolled out the red carpet for him and begged him all year. He doesn't care, bro. He's like, speak to my agent, speak to Cashman. Yeah. He is a mercenary. So, who's going to go after him? And I guess, for Yankee fans, the ultimate scenario really is he ends up on the Mets. And I think Cohen probably does throw the money at him, Scott. I think Cohen's going to, try to stick it to the Yankees and, make Met fans happy. So I would make the Mets the front runners because I think they're going to go all in. But don't forget, like, the Dodgers' contract with Ohtani is deferred, right? Ohtani makes $2 million a year. And the whole reason was so they could sign other players. And he told them, like, you know what I mean? This is part of the deal, though, right? You're going to spend money on other people. And they did. They gave Yamamoto the money. So I'm just throwing it out there. Willie Adames is another guy that's really been connected to the Dodgers a lot. The Dodgers can't go on like always with Max Muncy and Lux. And, you know what I mean? They gotta shore up the middle of the infield a little bit, not to get ahead of ourselves. But, yeah, Juan Soto, as a betting man, I would bet $10,000 he's not on.
You think any of the Texas teams would want him because he knows how much money he's going to make and that he would avoid taxes?
I don't think that drives him, Scott. I think he figures I'm already that rich. But, yeah, I would imagine not the Astros. The Astros don't want to spend that type of money. The Rangers definitely have the money. The Phillies are psychos, Scott. Those guys spend a lot of money, the Phillies. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Phillies are in the mix. Hell, there's rumors the Washington Nationals want to bring him back. And there's also rumors that he's not opposed to it. So who knows with this guy? I'm just throwing it out there, though, that don't dismiss that he ends up on the Dodgers.
Do you
like,
think
don't
that
for
he
people
would,
to think, oh, the Dodgers are done. They're not done.
Do you think that he would actually ever cross his mind that if he went to Queens, the abuse he would take in New York from Yankee fans, that it wouldn't be worth it to deal with that nonsense? Because I guarantee he's going to have to deal with it if he goes to play for the Mets. He'll be haunted by these people.
Could he have been any more obvious last night? Like, basically, like, looking up, took around the dugout, basically.
Yeah.
Shook like the field guy had. Yeah, I see you later, bro. You know, like,
it's going to be another 15 years for the Yankees. Trust me. They lose him. They are so average without him. It's not even funny with Mr. Strikeout King. Honestly.
And Cashman. Hey, listen, I guess it's the Houston Astros' fault. Hey, Cashman, you lost to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'm so sick of hearing about Cashman and Boone around here. Like, Carver High and I hate both of them. Like, forever. I used to interview the guy every year when he did his homeless night out in Manhattan. I don't even do that anymore. I saw the guy the other day that set up the interview for years. I walked past him. I said, good to see you. I'm on the phone. I had my earbuds in. I go, I don't want to talk to you. Are you okay with him moving to the head of the class of the Heisman with those two games? Because he wasn't even in the discussion before those two games.
This is a big opportunity for Dylan if he wants to continue to make his case for the Heisman Trophy, and I think he's shown that. You know, I mean, what is he, a sixth-tier player who's going to probably end up setting most of the passing marks because he's been around for so long? So why not also throw a Heisman Trophy in the mix?
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, so now I got to listen to it and rub it in a little more. All right, have at it.
Just going to say to you, this is it. Like, you're only going to get now like 20 more minutes of this, and then we're moving on to other things of this Yankee loss to the Dodgers.
It's already ruined my day, my night, my life.
It's ruined all of our days. It's already ruined all of our days. So now let's just get even more angry listening to some of these knuckleheads after the game. Here it is. Now, I know we usually play when someone wins a championship, the final out or the big homer or something like that. Not today. Instead, we give you the low light, Scotty. Here it is, the 5th inning where the Yankees had a 5-0 lead, and they completely and utterly and disgracefully blew Game 5 of the World Series on Fox last night.
The heating up Judge, who settles under this ball, but then drops it. Can Hernandez get to the bag before the throw? He does. On a routine play, Aaron Judge just flubs it in center field. 2-2 on Will Smith. Garrett Cole throws, and a ground ball left side. Volpe will go to third in the dirt, and another break for L.A. It was going to be a tough play, but one the Yankees should make. And the bases are loaded. Ground ball right side. Rizzo. Nobody at first! Incredible! Atrocious defense from the Yankees, leading directly to a Dodger run in the 5th.
I mean, honestly, I don't know what to say to you. Like, I can't even take
part
it.
Of that clip,
to me. Honestly, like, I'm ready to leave the set. I'm ready to just go.
The worst part of that clip is that, and I didn't even realize this last night because I was so mad when it happened. You can really tell in that clip when Betts hits the ground ball, the first to Rizzo, there's like an enormous cheer in the stadium. They think they're getting out of it. They see the ground ball, the first, and then it just,
oh my God.
Oh my God. It's absolutely brutal. Here he is. We always love Aaron Boone on Coast to Coast. Very, very emotional after the Yankee loss.
I mean, I'm heartbroken. Yeah, I mean, it's doesn't take away my pride of what that room means to me and what that group forged this year and what we've been through to get here. But I'm heartbroken. I'm heartbroken. I'm heartbroken for those guys that pour so much into this. You know, the ending is cruel.
I love you.
You know, it always is. You know, I haven't had that feeling of being celebrating and going home. And, you know, like many of the guys in there, you know, I'm 51. You know, I poured my life into that. So, you know, you're chasing that. And when you get that close, you know, it's heartbreaking.
Honestly, is there anything worse, as I've said 5 million times on the show, than listening to the losers? Honestly, like, you never forget losing. It's the worst. I'll tell you what, if you're a big boy and you got your big boy pants on, don't be a sports fan unless you can wear those big boy pants, because losing sucks and it happens all the time. Like, you'll never get away from it. Somebody wins, somebody loses. Somebody has to lose every game, every day, everywhere, every sport. And that's how it works. And if you can't handle losing, then go pick flowers.
It's true. And you're right. Hearing from the losers, I think we do it a little bit more today because it's the Yankees, and me and you spend so much time being upset at the Yankees that's why we have to hear more from the losers today.
Oh, they're bringing him back.
Oh, he's got like a lifetime deal. That guy, he's not going anywhere. Him and Cashman, you know, the architects of the future of Yankee baseball. That is, after making the World Series, he's not going
last night. Let me ask you. You're watching the game last night. You're watching this guy, Tommy Kahnle, couldn't throw a strike to save his ass. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was one ball after the next. He walks the first two, and then the catcher interference. But when you're watching a guy that can't throw a strike, and he's let two on, and yet you keep him out there, you have to wonder what is wrong with this guy Boone and how he manages. I don't care who's out there. I'm going to him because this guy can't throw a strike. And if you can't throw strikes, you got to get out of there. I mean, this is it was meltdown time at the OK Corral in a game 5. You lose, you're done. Gladbag City. And this guy let him keep pitching. I think he's a terrible manager. I always have. I always will. I've never changed my opinion of him. He's awful. He really is. The only reason they got there this year was Soto. That's it.
It's like I always say to you, they will never win with that manager. They will never win with that manager.
They won't.
Ever. And I get what Boone was trying to do, I guess. He didn't want to go 2 full innings with Weaver probably, and he thought that Canely would go in there and get him something. But when he gets the first guy on, if you're going to bring Weaver in anyway, then you should have just started the inning with him, right? If you had it in your mind that you were willing to go more than 3 outs,
go to him then.
That's you got to then just go to him then. You can't wait until guys, because I don't think it's. You notice Weaver's only really giving up runs when there's a bunch. He comes in with a bunch of guys on base. Like when he starts a clean inning, he's been pretty good throughout the entire playoffs. And I thought that was a bad job by him in that aspect. If you're willing to use him, then use him. Judge is going to be a very big topic. You and Gabe were just talking about him. Of course, he's going to have to live with this for a while until he actually wins one, if he ever wins one. It hurt a lot last night for Judge, who took like an hour and a half to meet with the media, by the way. Here he is.
I think falling short in the World Series will stick with me until I die, probably. I think just like every other loss, those things don't go away. They're battle scars along the way, and hopefully when my career is over, we got a lot of battle scars, but also a lot of victories along the way too.
Yeah, listen, I have to ask you the same thing I asked Gabe. Will you ever think of him the same way again? Because I just will not. I'm sorry. Like, I already know what he does in the playoffs. He does nothing, and he can't hit. And now I know he can't field either.
I think that the Yankee fan obviously is going to look at him a lot differently going forward until he ever wins. I think that obviously the accolades are always there. It's kind of similar to what I said to you the other day, even before all this happened. You lose this World Series and you hit as poorly as he did, it'll always be, that's the guy who hit 62, that's the guy who hit 59, a massive home run hitter, multiple-time MVP winner. But there's always going to be a but after all of those accolades, and that is, man, he sucked in the World Series. And now it's not even, he didn't hit in the World Series. Now it's, remember the one time he made the World Series and he didn't hit and he dropped that ball in center field? That is now his remembrance until he ever gets back there and has the opportunity to change that. That is all people will remember, especially in New York, for him. And that's a hard thing in New York. That's a hard thing to get rid of until you climb that mountain. You got to climb that mountain.
Mike Lupick will write a story this Sunday about what a great guy he is and what a great kid he is. And he's the face of the franchise. He's the captain, and he deserves a pass. And that God bless him. And then he'll write about how great Aaron Rodgers is and blah blah blah. You know what? I am fed up with nice. Honestly, you have to call it for what it is. He was awful. He was awful. And it got worse. Now, he made the great grab on Freeman at the wall, but no one's going to remember that at all.
Nope. Nobody will remember that whatsoever. It is always going to be missing that fly ball and not hitting. Nobody's going to remember that he homered in the first inning.
No one.
That homer in the first inning is non-existent now.
Non-existent.
It's that he didn't hit and didn't catch the ball. We'll come back, and I'll play you to Soto, basically saying it was nice to know you. Nice to know you before we get out of here.
Are you okay with him moving to the head of the class of the Heisman with those 2 games? Because he wasn't even in the discussion before those 2 games.
This is a big opportunity for Dylan if he wants to continue to make his case for the Heisman Trophy, and I think he's shown that. What is he, a 6th-tier player who's going to probably end up setting most of the passing marks because he's been around for so long? So, why not also throw a Heisman Trophy in the mix?
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Listen, I don't deny Garrett Cole was pretty filthy. And the fact that he survived and pitched for 2 more innings is like manly type stuff. That was really impressive to me that he, like, because I thought, like, get him out of the game after the ground ball. I'm like, get him out. He's already butchered the game. Get him out. And they left him in, and he just kept throwing heat. And I was impressed. But I'll tell you what, I'm sorry. I refuse to acknowledge any of that when he didn't cover first. That was it for me. Like, he just stood there frozen in time, and he cost them, and that's all there is to it. So I don't respect what he did in that game at all. All I remember is he didn't cover first. In the midst of their meltdown, he was one of the main reasons they lost.
Like Judge, that's what will be remembered is, remember when Cole didn't cover first in that game against the Dodgers?
That's it.
Like, that's it. Like, that's on him. Now, I'll say this. I think this is the real, I think, turning point of this series is still goes back to, what did he throw last night? 108 pitches, Cole. If they let him throw 108 pitches in game 1, this series might be a little different. If they let him throw 108 pitches in game 1 instead of taking him out at 88 like they did. I still think that taking Cole out in game 1 was right, where the ball really started to roll down the hill on that decision that they made. Because you could tell last night, Cole had enough gas for 108. He threw 108 pitches, and 40 of them were in one inning. I mean, 40 of the 108 were in one inning that he threw. Here he is talking about not covering first base.
Your impression of what happened at first base?
Yeah, I think I took a bad angle to the ball. I wasn't sure really off the bat how hard he hit it. I took a direct angle to it as if to cut it off because I just didn't know how hard he hit it. And by the time the ball got by me, I was not in a position to cover first. So neither of us were, based on the spin of the baseball and him having to secure it and just a bad read off the bat. So
I think that was Shaq I've ever listened to. Like, he just,
I
didn't
this.
cover first. That's all you needed to say.
I saw this as well, that by the time that had happened, that Cole was mentally fatigued from everything that had happened in the inning and lost himself. Mentally fatigued. So many bad things that happened. He just blew away Lux and Ohtani, the 2 batters before that. blew him away. He struck those two guys out to get the 2 outs before the bet's at bat, so I don't want to hear that either. All right, now the fun part, the last thing for you about this. Here's Soto. By the way, Yankees since 2013. 6-0 in playoff series against teams from the AL Central. 0-6 against everybody else over the last 11 years. So they only win in the playoffs when they play the Twins, the Guardians, or the Royals. That's all they beat, are those teams. They don't beat anybody else when they play them. So
They don't beat anyone that's good, is what that means.
Pretty much that's how you can chalk that up to with those kind of numbers. So Soto will be a free agent. Soto was asked 6,000 times last night about is the Yankees a favorite? Are the Yankees do you give them any edge? Do you give this team an edge? Do you give that team an edge? This is the one I thought summed it up the best for Juan Soto. I'm open to everybody. There's nobody who is not going to get a chance to give me the most money possible.
Yeah, expect the Mets to come after you.
I mean, I don't know what's the teams that want to come after me, but definitely I'll be open to listen every single team. I don't have any doors closed or anything like that, so I'm going to be available for all 30 teams.
All 30 teams. Fire away. Get the checkbook out.
He's a generational player, and
yes,
he is worth every penny in my view, and he's been very fun to watch play baseball on a daily basis. Watching that guy get 5 at bats, there's no one in baseball, in my opinion, that has better at bats than Juan Soto. I've never seen a guy stare down a pitcher and literally challenge them on every pitch to, you can't get it by me. You're not going to get me out. I'm going to get a hit. I'm going to hit a home run. You can't make me strike out. Like, I've never seen anything like it. And he has that aura about him. He stands there and stares him down. When he walks, he takes his gloves off the whole time. He's staring at the pitcher like, you see, I told you, you can't keep me off the base path. The guy was on base 25 straight games. Isn't that what it was? The postseason, 25 games. This guy is unbelievable, and he's going to leave the Yankees. I have never seen anything like it. I just don't know what is wrong with people. Now, I get it. They don't win. They don't win lately. It's been 15 years, so they don't win lately. They go to the playoffs, they lose. So I get it, I guess, from that perspective that you could leave the Yankees. But I don't know how – it's like Rizzo said. Rizzo said it best. He's like, you put this one on, this jersey, this one's better than all of them. All of them. And it's better than the Dodgers. 27 world championships. I'm sorry, they got 8. Okay, so count. You can do math, right? There's one team in baseball that you just can't walk away from, and he's going to walk away from them in 5 seconds. That's amazing to me. I don't know how anyone can walk away from the New York Yankees. I gotta tell you. And they got more money than God. So it's unbelievable to me.
And he'll walk away from them for $1 more. Not 20, not 50, not 100. $1 more. He'll walk away from them. That's
what's wrong with the game. That's what's wrong with the game. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I never thought Jeter would leave. I never thought Judge would leave. I never, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Judge is a lot different. I saw people say, well, they were able to keep Judge. Judge came up a Yankee, grew up a Yankee, there was a lot of other factors with Judge staying a Yankee. This guy was here for 1 year. He's a mercenary. He doesn't care. Judge cared about Yankee legacy and things like that. I don't think Soto cares about that. He cares about
if he leaves,
money.
I hope his legs fall off. How's that sound?
If he leaves, he's the worst defensive right fielder in all of baseball. I'll get all over him. If he leaves, he's an awful defender.
I hope he gets Honta. I hope he gets the Honta. Are you okay with him moving to the head of the class of the Heisman with those 2 games? Because he wasn't even in the discussion before those two games.
This is a big opportunity for Dylan if he wants to continue to make his case for the Heisman Trophy, and I think he's shown that. I mean, what is he, a sixth-tier player who's going to probably end up setting most of the passing marks because he's been around for so long? So why not also throw a Heisman Trophy in the mix?
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Well, we got to hear from the winners, don't we? We can't just sit here and complain all day.
I figured we did so much Yankee stuff. The Dodgers did win the World Series. We got to at least give them something. There's been a lot of critics of Dave Roberts. He's only won once. They make the playoffs every year. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, he says, screw the critics. I've now won twice. Here he is.
I'm going to take the high road. It's hard to win a championship, regardless of, what your team is like. It's hard, and there's a reason why there hasn't been a repeat champion since the Yankees did it. And so it clearly speaks to the playoff format, all that stuff. And so I'm going to be in the moment, and I'm going to enjoy the heck out of this one. And I'm sure there's no asterisks on this one.
And Andrew said Shohei told him in the clubhouse, let's do this 9 more times. Do you feel the pressure of 9 more times?
I don't want to get to pressure yet. I've dealt with pressure quite a bit. I'm going to enjoy this one. But, once we get to spring training, that's certainly going to be the goal, yes.
While he brings that up, let me just say this to you, piggyback off that, because he brought up Shohei. The exact opposite of Judge in terms of he's now won a World Series, and nobody will even remember he played in one because he obviously did nothing in the World Series, Ohtani. He had the greatest year of all time, but he did nothing in the World Series. Nothing. He was hurt, fine, but he did nothing.
Listen, the other thing that stands out to me is what he said about winning. It really is brutally hard. And Mafia, I always go back to playing basketball. 4 times we went undefeated and lost in the championship. 4 times we were undefeated. We won every game except the title game. You never live it down. 4 times we went undefeated and won it. So I was 4-4 after going undefeated. You'd never realize how hard it is until you're in that position to win it. People think it's so easy. I think sports fans think winning titles in World Series, Stanley Cup, anything else is easy. Now, you watch the Chiefs win back-to-back, so everybody's like, it's so easy. It is not easy to win it all. You can go and lose. The Yankees just went and lost. And they, the Dodgers were favored, and they beat them. It is what it is. But even he said, look, he's won twice. And it's really hard to close the deal, to win it, to get in it. Everything has to fall into place, and then you have to actually finish the deal. once you get there, like the Yankees got there and they failed, and the Dodgers got there and they won it. And it's hard to do it. It'll be hard. I've already heard dynasty. Is there such a thing in baseball anymore, a dynasty? Because the Yankees were the last dynasty, and no one's repeated since. Every year it's someone new. Last year, I almost puked that I had to watch the Texas Rangers and Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, really, honestly, it was that bad. So this was supposed to be the greatest World Series ever, and it really wasn't.
It was not. It was a big letdown, that's for sure, especially for us.
They dominated the Yankees. It was not a good World Series at all.
Was not. Freddie Freeman won the MVP, as he should have. He destroyed the Yankees. He hit homers in every single game, nonstop. Here it is. I do it to you every time someone wins a championship. The odds for next year's World Series winner, the 2025 World Series title. And, of course, the favorites are? Dodgers. Come on, of course. The Dodgers are favored. There they are at the top of the big board, 4-1. Yankees at plus 750. Braves,
I'll take the Marlins.
Phillies, Orioles. Now, the funny thing here is, what's that Yankee number when Soto goes and signs somewhere else? These numbers the day after the season ends, when you have no idea what's going to happen in free agency. I mean, no idea. You tell me, what happens if Soto signs with any of these teams that are like 15, 20, 25? They're going to shoot up the board. So it's very hard to do odds the day after when you still have all the free agency yet to come. But people like to do it. That's for sure. Yankee team's going to look a lot different, Scotty. A lot different Yankee team next year.
It's going to look a lot different. I'll take the Pirates and Marlins on the odds.
Pirates are actually 100-1. They're not at the bottom. The Marlins are 370-1.
I mean, those are terrific odds. They're going to have a big year.
Yes, they certainly are. Mets are 12, Padres 15 for the other teams that we always talk about. There it is. We'll close the book on the baseball season. God bless and good luck to everybody in the future. I loved it. I had a great year with Taters. So I love it.
Listen, I like the Padres as a West Coast operation, and I will never root for the Dodgers ever. So I'm Friar faithful. That's it. Done deal.
Tatum has fixed that hitch. He now shoots it at the top of his jump. His release is really pure. And right now he's shooting it at 49% from three. Now, I'm not saying he's going to shoot at 49% from three for the season. But if he's at 42, 43%, Lord have mercy, look out below. Jason Tatum, right now, my number 6 player in the NBA.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I tend to do this a lot, by the way. I do it more in baseball with the anytime home run, where I may play 4 players at home. I call it covering the board. If I take 4 players, bet the same amount on each, I only need to hit 2 of them and I win money.
He's already got 438 rushing yards on the season. He's looking like the old LT days where the Chargers were able to have that strong, dominant running back.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.